Ever heard that saying, if a deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, that goes for education too,
Right.
We're going to be looking into illegal private colleges right here in Johannesburg.
Wow.
And it's something that you might not really expect,
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Right.
you're dedicated to lifelong learning.
Yes.
You always want to be expanding your skills.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to do is get caught in a scam, especially when it comes to something as important as education.
Absolutely.
So that's where this deep dive comes in.
Okay.
We're using this study guide on illegal colleges
Right.
to help you spot those warning signs and understand why legitimate accreditation is so crucial.
It's more common than people realize.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking about a whole network of players here.
Okay.
The city of Johannesburg, the Gauteng Department of Education,
Right.
and of course the colleges themselves. Some legitimate, some not. But the ones who really get caught in the crossfire are the students.
The study guide doesn't pull any punches when it talks about the dangers that students face.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen
Well,
if someone ends up at one of these illegal colleges?
yeah, the study guide actually highlights a case
Okay.
where a student completed a 3-year IT program at one of these unaccredited colleges,
Oh, wow.
only to find out that their diploma was completely worthless
Really?
when they tried to get a job.
Oh, no.
Employers wouldn't touch it.
Wow.
Universities wouldn't accept it for credit transfer.
Oh, that's awful.
It's heartbreaking, you
Yeah.
know, because this student invested years of their life and a significant amount of money only to be left with nothing.
That's a stark reminder of what's at stake here.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be devastating for someone who's just trying to improve their life. But why do these illegal colleges exist in the first place?
Well,
Is it just purely about making a quick buck?
yeah. There are a few factors at play.
Okay.
The study guide points out the huge demand for education in Johannesburg,
Right.
coupled with limited access to public institutions.
Yeah.
This creates a gap
Okay.
that these illegal colleges are all too eager to fill.
Right.
While profit is certainly a motive for some, others might be struggling institutions trying to cut corners to offer cheaper courses, even if it means operating outside the law.
So it's kind of a complex mix of opportunism
Yeah,
and maybe even desperation on the part of the colleges.
right.
But for someone trying to choose a college, how can you tell if it's the real deal
Well,
or one of these shady operations?
the first thing you should do
Okay.
is verify the college's registration with the Department of Higher Education and Training,
Okay.
also known as DHET.
THET. Okay.
Their website has a searchable database,
Okay.
and you can also contact them directly.
That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
What else should people be looking for?
Accreditation is absolutely crucial. Don't just take their word for it. Look for proof that they are accredited by a recognized professional body, for example, in South Africa.
Yeah.
The Council on Higher Education, or one of the professional bodies like the Engineering Council of South Africa, would provide that accreditation.
Okay.
You can usually find this information on the college's website,
Okay.
but it's always a good idea to double check with the accrediting body directly.
It sounds like doing your homework is key here.
Yes.
What about things like online reviews or talking to former students? Could that be helpful?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Look for positive reviews and testimonials from previous students.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to reach out to alumni groups or online forums to get their insights.
That's a good idea.
A college with a good reputation will have graduates who are happy to share their experiences.
Makes sense.
Of course, take everything you read online with a grain of salt.
Yeah, of course.
But consistent negative feedback should be a red flag.
So far, we've focused on what individuals can do to protect themselves.
Right.
But the study guide also mentions the government's efforts to crack down on these illegal institutions. What's being done at a higher level.
There's actually been quite a bit of activity on this front.
Okay.
The city of Johannesburg,
Yeah.
the Gauteng Department of Education,
Right.
and even law enforcement agencies have been working together to identify and shut down illegal colleges.
That's good to hear.
The study guide mentions a series of raids and closures that have resulted in some high-profile arrests.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a real commitment to tackling this problem head on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not just about enforcement.
No.
The study guide also highlights the importance of public awareness campaigns.
Right.
They've even set up a helpline
Really?
for prospective students to report suspicious activity
Okay.
or get help verifying a college's legitimacy.
It seems like they're really trying to hit this from multiple angles.
Yeah,
Both by going after the illegal operators and by educating the public.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really important because in the end, informed students are the best defense against these predatory institutions.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's easy to get caught up in the individual stories.
Yeah.
But this issue goes beyond just a few bad actors. It really makes you think about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
how much we value education,
Right.
both for ourselves
Yeah.
and as a society.
Absolutely.
We hear all the time about how important education is for personal growth,
Right.
getting ahead in your career, even for social mobility.
Yes.
But what happens
Yeah.
when that system is undermined by these institutions offering worthless qualifications?
True.
Yeah.
Imagine working hard, investing your time and money, believing you're on the path to a better future,
Right.
only to discover that you were sold a lie. It's incredibly disheartening, not only for the individual, but for their families and communities as well.
It's almost like it chips away at the foundation of the whole system, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It erodes trust.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect
Right.
that extends far beyond the immediate victim.
So how do we stop this? Is it just about shutting down the illegal colleges?
We need to do both.
Okay.
Strong enforcement is critical, but we also have to address the underlying factors that drive people towards these illegal options in the first place.
So it's not just about playing whack-a-mole
Yeah.
with the illegal colleges themselves.
Right.
We need to create a system where those shortcuts become less appealing because the legitimate paths are more accessible.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If we can offer viable, affordable alternatives, if we can empower people to make informed choices,
Yeah.
then we can effectively cut off the demand that fuels these fraudulent institutions.
Right.
We need to foster a culture of educational integrity
Right.
where everyone has a genuine opportunity to reach their full potential.
The study guide keeps coming back to registration and accreditation.
Yeah.
But for someone who's not immersed in the education world,
Right.
those terms can sound pretty abstract.
Yeah.
Can you break it down for our listener?
Sure.
What do those actually mean?
Well,
And why are they so important?
think of it like this.
Okay.
If you needed a doctor, you wouldn't just walk into any random building and trust whoever's inside, right?
Right.
You'd want to make sure that they had the right credentials,
Yeah.
that they were trained and certified
Yeah.
by recognized medical boards.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So registration and accreditation are like the medical license
Exactly.
for educational institutions.
Registration means the institution has met the basic requirements set by the government,
Okay.
like a business license.
Right.
It allows them to operate legally.
Okay.
Accreditation, though,
Yeah.
is a higher bar. It means that an independent body experts in the field have evaluated the institution's programs,
Right.
faculty facilities,
Okay.
the overall quality of education. They've given it a stamp of approval saying, yes, this institution meets the standards.
So accreditation is like getting that gold star,
Exactly.
the seal of quality.
Body.
That gives students confidence they're getting the real deal.
Precisely.
Okay.
It ensures your education will be recognized by employers, other educational institutions.
Right.
And most importantly, it helps guarantee you're actually getting the knowledge and skills you need to succeed.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between buying a product
Right.
from a reputable brand
Yeah.
versus a knockoff from a street vendor.
Exactly.
You might be tempted by the lower price,
Yeah.
but you're taking a huge risk.
Exactly. And with education, that risk is far too high.
Right.
We're talking about your future, your career, your livelihood.
Yeah.
It's worth taking the time to do your research and make sure you're investing in a legitimate, accredited institution.
The study guide focuses a lot on the government's response and individual responsibility.
Right.
But I'm wondering about the role of communities in all of this.
Yeah.
What about the everyday people,
Right.
the neighbors, the families? Could they be part of the solution?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Communities have a vital role to play in building a culture of accountability.
Okay.
They can be the eyes and ears on the ground,
Yeah, right.
the ones who notice something suspicious and speak up.
Yeah.
They can share information, support legitimate educational initiatives,
Yeah.
and put pressure on those who are operating outside the law.
It's like that saying, it takes a village, right?
Exactly.
In this case,
Yeah.
it takes a community to protect its own.
Imagine a community where everyone understands the value of quality education
Right.
and is committed to protecting its members from these predatory institutions. That's a powerful force for change.
It's a hopeful vision.
Yeah.
It sounds like we need both individual vigilance and a strong sense of community responsibility to really tackle this problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about empowering individuals with knowledge,
Right.
fostering a sense of shared responsibility,
Yeah.
and creating a system where education is a pathway to opportunity, not exploitation.
Well said.
Thank you.
But before we get too optimistic, we need to remember that the battle against these illegal colleges isn't over.
That's true.
There are still people out there looking to exploit others' hopes for a better future.
You're right.
Yeah.
We can't let our guard down.
So for our listener,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. Good.
Don't be swayed by promises of quick and easy qualifications.
Okay.
Do your research, verify the credentials, and invest in your education wisely.
Yeah.
Your future self will thank you.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's still more to unpack.
Right.
Let's continue this deep dive in part 3,
Okay.
where we'll explore the long-term consequences of these illegal colleges and discuss strategies for building a more equitable and ethical education system. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of illegal colleges.
Thanks for having me back.
We've explored the immediate dangers,
Yeah.
the government's response, and the impact this has on communities.
Right.
Now, let's shift our focus to the long-term consequences.
Okay.
What kind of future are we setting ourselves up for
Right.
if these institutions are allowed to operate unchecked?
If people start to believe that qualifications can be bought rather than earned, it really undermines the entire system.
Right.
Think about the hard work and dedication of legitimate students and graduates.
Yeah.
Their efforts are devalued if these fake credentials are circulating.
It's like counterfeit money entering the economy, right?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
throws everything off balance.
Employers become hesitant to hire graduates,
Yeah.
unsure if their qualifications are genuine.
Right.
Educational institutions could face lower enrollment and funding because people lose faith in the system.
It really hurts everyone in the long run.
Yeah.
Because we end up with a workforce that might not have the skills and knowledge we need to move forward as a society.
That's a pretty sobering thought.
Yeah.
So how do we break this cycle?
Right.
How do we ensure that education remains a pathway to opportunity, not exploitation?
It's going to take a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
Of course, we need strong law enforcement to show that running an illegal college has serious consequences.
Right.
But we also have to address the root causes,
Yeah.
the factors that make these institutions appealing in the first place.
So it's not just about catching the bad guys.
Right.
It's about preventing others from falling into the same trap. What can be done on that front?
We need to make legitimate education more accessible
Okay.
and affordable.
Right.
That means investing in public institutions, expanding scholarship programs,
Yeah.
and finding ways to support non-traditional students
Okay.
who might be more likely to seek out these quick fix options.
It's about creating a system where everyone has a fair shot.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
No one should feel like they have to take shortcuts because the legitimate path seems out of reach.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And alongside that, we need to raise awareness.
Okay.
People need to understand the dangers of these illegal colleges
Right.
and know how to verify credentials. The more informed individuals are, the better they can protect themselves.
Knowledge is power, absolutely.
Yes.
But it's not just about individual responsibility.
Right.
We've talked about the role of communities,
Yeah.
but how can they be more actively involved in this fight?
Communities can be incredibly powerful forces for change. Think about parents talking to their children about this, neighbors looking out for each other,
Right.
community leaders advocating for quality education.
Yeah.
When everyone's aware of the problem,
Yeah.
they can start to hold these institutions accountable.
It creates a sense of shared responsibility,
Right.
a collective effort to protect the integrity of education.
That brings us back to our listener,
Okay.
the lifelong learner who's always seeking new knowledge and opportunities.
Yeah.
You have a role to play in this as well.
What advice would you give to our listener who's trying to navigate this complex landscape?
First and foremost,
Yeah.
be informed.
Okay.
Do your research. Ask questions.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. If something feels wrong,
Yeah.
Trust your gut and dig deeper.
So be a savvy consumer,
Right.
a critical thinker when it comes to your education,
Exactly.
and be an advocate.
Yes.
Share what you've learned with others.
Yeah.
Speak out against these illegal operations. And support initiatives that promote quality education for everyone. Use your voice to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Even small actions can contribute to positive change.
Every voice matters.
Yeah.
Every action, no matter how small,
Right.
helps build a better future for education.
We've explored a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
The immediate dangers, the long-term consequences,
Right.
the roles of government and communities.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And while the problem of illegal colleges is complex,
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that by working together, we can create a system where education is truly a pathway to opportunity for everyone.
That's a vision worth working towards.
It is.
We've talked a lot about avoiding shortcuts,
Yeah.
but maybe the real shortcut is investing in quality education,
Right.
supporting legitimate institutions,
Yes.
and empowering people to reach their full potential.
Absolutely.
That's a path worth taking,
It is.
wouldn't you say?
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it informative and empowering.
I hope so too.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep learning, keep questioning, and keep striving for a better future.